All right, this is well, I guess this series will be showing how to actually use the RPG Engine Toolkit from scratch to be able to get it into a project, to get it up and running, making modifications, um, however you see fit. I'm going to start with a C++ project, third person, and name my project RPG Test Run, create new project. According to what Epic told me, when the plugin does come out, it will be inside of the engine directory, but all the source code will still be there. So everything that I'm about to show you will be me copying the plugin folder to my project. You shouldn't have to do that, and they say that the end user will still be able to modify and recompile the plugin. Just it's within the engine folder, so I don't know if there's a special process for it, or if you have to just copy it out and compile it within your project. That part I'm not fully I don't fully understand how they have it set up with plugins and being able to customize, but that's what I'm that's what they told me before. So I'm going to go through here and assume it's going to operate just like the plugin will be in your actual directory. So first thing I'm going to do is actually add the plugin, and go to here. So I'm just going to copy my plugin over to the other directory. There's the test run. Gotta make a plugins folder. And I haven't practiced this or anything like that. So if anything goes wrong, if there's any issue, I'll fix it so you can see how I would usually fix an issue or where I would see an issue at and take care of it. There shouldn't be any, but bugs happen. All right. So now that's copied, I am going to regenerate the project. And I'm actually not going to use 2013. Let me close these. I am going to use 2013 instead of 2015 because I'm still working out of 4.9 right now. I have to still upgrade it for the many different versions. So I'm trying to pay attention to my time right now. So now that we have this up, I'm going to open this project somewhere. There we go. Okay, so I have now this that should compile and run, and I should be able to see my projects in the my plugin in the project settings. My plugin in the plugin settings. And while that's doing it, I'm going to open another one so I can show that within the plugins directory, the other tool for the database manager will be within the wrong folder. Will be in the plugins, RPG Engine Toolkit, extended tools and docs, and here you can find the RPG tool with the toolkit in it. And that one actually will not take long to load. You can just hit run, and from here you can create your database. But I'm going to go in and show you a few modifications you may want to use first before you actually create a database, because not everybody has the same vision for certain name types, certain race schemes that they want for their game, just attribute names and things like that. People want to change, and I've made a way for you to actually easily modify this before creating your initial database to be able to curve the program to work however you would want it to work. So over here, we go to classes and we go to store procedures. These aren't really stored procedures, but it just seemed the proper thing to name it, since this is where everything for the database are created. So if you look right here, these are pretty much definitions for structure types, which represents the database name. And these structs are actually used to create the database. They're also used to insert the initial data for certain tables. So we have the weapons, your weapons, summons, anything that you need in the database created here. And then right after the creation process, you can take anything, it's like your default settings here, set them as whatever you want their defaults to be, and then they will be inserted into the database after the creation. Things that you might want to modify would be your weapon list. So whatever names you want to name your weapon types for your database, you can put them here. Whatever you want to call your weapon slots, whatever you want to call your body slots. Right now, these max numbers are the max numbers that's automatically supported in the database manager. You can go under, so you can remove some of these body slots if you want, or armor slots if you want. But going over, if you want more than what's already here, you would have to actually go in and make more fields to support entering information for those different armor types and things like that for the initial player setups. You have your default races. I've already changed these to some kind of stereotypical races that you may have for your game. That changes per person and things like that. Also, the default name categories for your resource types are in here. I just pick arbitrary names for certain different types, and then you can put that together as however you want. Another thing that's here, I'm going to name this SP instead of KP for skill points. And change this as well for another healing type. Pretty much this just defines an item type where it's going to heal your HP, MP, SP, HP and MP, or all different types of fields. You also have your attribute names going from attack to defense. Well, attack, defense, magic, accuracy, all the typical JRPG type of definitions for your attribute types, as well as the definitions for those attributes. I technically don't bring in the definitions, but they're in the database for you to query however you want. You have your status types for status effect elements, and you also have status boosting definition types for the different beneficial skills or benefit effects that your magic and things may do. Another thing that probably changes your category that you choose to have for your event types. Right now, I just have this set up as a pretty much catch-all generic event types that you may want to change as well. And all that's just dynamic in the database. I can't see anything else really changing much. Maybe the weather type, even though the weather I don't have implemented, but you can change it to whatever weather scheme that you want for your system to be able to trigger on the code side to be able to do different weather transitions based on event triggers. And with that, the code should be done. I didn't run it. And I think I'm running out of time for this video, but at least I'll be able to get everything set up and shown. While that's actually loading the engine, I'm going to come over here to the database manager. I'm going to load this. If that doesn't block me, let's try this again. I'm going to load this. I'm going to create a new database, find my location, of which I am currently blind. There we go, test run, content. And the database right now has to be inside of the RPG system folder, inside of a data store folder. And then we can just call this source. And right now it has to be called source because that's what's defaulted into the source code for the actual starting files. So I'm going to save this. It's created my database. And when you see tools highlight, you know you're ready to go in and edit your database. You can go in here and see all your default settings. You can go in here and start making events. You can start making classes based on everything that you had in here before for your attribute types. Like I said, for the attribute types, this panel updates automatically. I'm pointing like you can see me, but this right now I support up to 8 attributes. If you wanted 9, you're gonna have to figure out how to put 9 into this canvas size because I just did put 8. So this is scalable however you want. Let me go back here to the engine. If we look in our plugins somewhere, there we go. If we look in our plugins, you should see over here in Toolkit, the RPG Engine Toolkit. So you know that's there. And I've added my auto terrain texture because I need it. One other thing that a lot of people miss is the fact that you have to go down here in the content browser and show plugins so we can get access to our plugins that we want to drag and drop and things like that. You can at any time come in and extend any of this. You can modify stuff in the plugins, or you can create something in your main folder that extends off of that, so you can modify the original base blueprint however you want. But that's just general Unreal Engine lingo in general. I think I'm running out of time for this video, but at least this is everything set up, everything's in. I can just make sure that I have access to everything, all my blueprints, my RPG system. I have my database tool here so I can start making entries into the database for events and things like that. And in the next video, I guess I'll pick up from here and start creating a test environment.